race fans, I'm Blythe Boney, Dustin Boney's wife and the co-owner of Prime Racing Products. Today you got me in my shop attire. One, to encourage all the ladies out there to get out in the shop and learn about racing, and also to teach you guys about tires. On my left here I have a Hoosier G60 tire. It is the IMCA spec tire. It is mounted up on my real beadlock, and one thing to know about the G60 Hoosier tire is that it is a little bit harder than the USRA American Racer. IMCA prohibits grooving, however you can grind it in between the squiggly lines. You can grind it as many times, preferably in between each race. They do come in two sizes, a 19 and a 20. 19 is obviously a little smaller, and the 20 would be your right side tires. The American Racer is our USRA spec tire. It is also called the G60. It comes in shorts. This is a regular tall, and it also comes in an extra tall. We are able to totally grind and groove the American Racer and USRA to our wishes. One last thing about these tires is that whenever you measure your stagger, you can manipulate these tires. You can blow them up and increase the circumference of them, or you can shrink them. You always need to measure your tires after each heat cycle because your tires will change. So in order to take this Hoosier G60 and make it a little bit bigger, you're going to apply 40 pounds of pressure or so to it, lay it out in the sun, and it will grow. We've gotten American Racers to grow up to about 1 3/4 to 2 inches at times. To shrink our tire, say after you have ran it and it's gotten too big to make a good set of tires, you can let all the air pressure out, replace the valve core, and also set it in the sun, and it'll make the rubber shrink up to a more preferable size. Usually they'll shrink up at least 3/4 of an inch, so that will also help with your setting up your tire staggers for racing sets. Hey guys, encourage your ladies to get out in the shop. I'm a racing wife, and I do everything from cutting and grinding on the chassis that Dustin fixes to fabricating bodies and, unfortunately, some tire work. So here we're going to take this American Racer on my real beadlock, and we're going to mount it up on this tire machine. Fred Brunel at FRE built this one for us, but we do have some other customers that offer the same setup. One's David Wood. You can reach out to him, or Max Grogan, a couple local racers that do a really good job. So anyway, we're going to put our tire and wheel up here, and I'm going to prepare to grind this tire. Because this is a rear tire, I'm going to rotate the motor to where the tire rotates toward me and into my gold disc. That way it cuts the tire on the opposite side of where it's going to, well, how it will apply to the racetrack. So the cut will apply to the racetrack whenever it's being raced. Hopefully y'all understand that. So I just ground half this tire. The reason we like this tire machine so much is because you're able to grind the tire very consistently. The old method of setting it on a wheel and going back and forth, the areas where you stop and you come back, you're hitting those same areas so many times. It's digging into the tire and actually creating more grip there. It's going to tear out. It's going to tear out there. And it's just not very consistent. So these tire machines, like I said, contact some of the guys that I just mentioned. They can set you up with one really easy. Okay, so what we've done here is we have ground this tire with the gold disc. This is an American Racer, so you can see that I went outside the squiggly line, and honestly, if this was a race tire, I may have even come over on the sidewall even a little further. Basically, what that process did was take the smooth glaze off the new tire and partially siped it to create more grip. The next step is to groove your tire. you always groove your tire after you grind it. This will create a better stiff edge on the groove pattern so that that stiff edge grips the racetrack. Again, the whole purpose of this whole process of tire prep is to get the tire into the track surface. I've got two different styles of blades. You can order these. They usually come 10 or 12 in a pack, I think, for a few bucks. This is a size 12 square bottom blade. This is something that we would use on a very heavy track with a lot of material laying on top of the surface. We would grind it wide to try and move the surface and get to a more solid track underneath. This is a number 3 square bottom blade, and we would go ahead and groove this tire more for like a slick track racing surface, to where you want to keep as much tread pattern and contact patch to the racetrack, so you would use a much smaller blade. So the most contact patch to apply to that hard surface, but also create that square edge for grip. So what I've got here now is my Van Alstyne tire siper. One important rule about siping tires is that you do not want to get your blades too deep into the tire tread. It will have a tendency to trunk the tread apart. You can also see that we can adjust the width of each little blade depending on how fast we want it to dissipate heat or build heat. Getting into that, you build heat in a tire, say for a heat race that is already slicking off and it's got a hard surface, and you want to apply heat to that tire for traction and maybe jump some of your competitors. You're going to take your siper and you're going to sipe the tire across the tire tread. Again, that will open up those pores, build heat, and create traction. On the other hand, you can also sipe your tire with the tire tread, and that will help release the heat if you're having a problem with too much traction and maybe overheating your right rear tire. There is a lot more to learn about tires and how to manipulate them in order to apply to the racing surface. If you're interested in learning more about tires or our shocks and springs or any other segment that you've seen on Tech Tuesday, I encourage you to call Dustin or myself at the Prime Racing Shop and get signed up for that Friday seminar. It's February 27th. We have about 9 spots left, so the first 9 people take it. Give us a call. Thank you.